But Haiti has been, for one, is one of the strongest nations and strongest people you'll ever meet that has come on the back of a lot of injustices. Mm-hmm. And through it, though.
Unbelievable amount of injustice.
Through it. Mm-hmm. Because of the proverbs of that island, which can fill a book, but the core ones, like manger qui pas met, is this idea that when crap hits the fan, so to speak, or when it feels like you don't have enough to get by, you know that you're as strong as your community. In spirit of Christmas, yes?
Yes, and that is one of my choices that I might regret. Crazy makeup and a Santa hat.
Let's do it.
We'll see what happens, but it was one of those things where
It's Christmas week.
I got busy and I was like rushing to get ready because I was already behind schedule, and I did my makeup really fast and I didn't do it how I wanted it. And then I also brought George to the party, so it's
a nice addition to your face.
It's a big one.
Would we blame that on holiday eating? Is that a holiday eating friend?
No, because I can't even eat anything that's good for the holidays because of my
not extra chocolates.
Doggone wheat and egg problems. No baked goods for me.
Wheat and egg problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun trying to cook for you lately.
Lately, baby. It's been a year.
Well, that's lately. When we've been together. We celebrated 20 years of marriage this week.
Should we clap for that?
20, yeah, boom. Hopefully Ben will do one of those cool little...
Yeah, babe. Ben was really... he was really putting in the sound effects.
Yeah.
I think maybe like a drum roll or a cymbal clash. Whoa. Something like that would be good.
Yeah. Just go big with it. Real big. Fireworks.
What was the other decision that I made? Oh, well, we don't really have to worry too much about what I'm wearing because you are wearing sweatpants with your...
Nobody needs to know that. Why are you throwing me under the bus right now?
Let me fix your collar, darling.
Nobody needs to know I got sweatpants on. That's 2020 for you.
Yeah, that's true. How many people are like on Zoom calls and they're wearing like really nice stuff from the waist up and then slippers and...
I got slippers on.
Long underwear on the bottom.
I don't know about the long underwear part, but why not wear sweats?
How do you like my new Christmas cup? My kids know me well. My secret Santa, who turned out to be Elijah, our son-in-love. Not our son that's in love, like our son-in-law, son-in-love. He
You did say son-in-love.
I know, I did that on purpose. Because law is like, seems very like, you have to. Oh, love is like by choice.
Well, so you meant to say son-in-love.
But he got me, and he got me a new Starbucks cup. Because he knows I love Starbucks cups. And it's Christmassy. It matches my hair. My hat, my table.
How many people do you think do Secret Santa?
I don't know, but
that's kind of the way to go.
It was a pretty genius idea for our kids. They decided it this year that we would
saved me lots of money.
Yeah, it really did. Except for we still had to pay for 8 of the 12 of us, but that's okay. Hey, the big kids helped out, and so that was cool. You can. Babe, yes. My other thing that I do regret about this morning, is that I not only did George. If you can't see because you're not watching us on video, which I highly recommend you watch us on video because I feel like you're missing out. Hold on. You're missing out on all of my faces. And George is a very big what?
It's a very large pimple.
We'll call it as it.
Look at my Christmas present.
This is what I was going to show you.
Mine.
Look at my poor neck.
This thing's really cool.
Yeah, that is a really cool.
It kind of looks like a grenade. But for those of you that don't know what this is a water bottle that you take to the gym that you can also
use it as a roller
exercises. You can roll out your bag, you can roll out your quads, your hammies. Are you changing? Oh,
that's what I was going to show you. Yeah. I also brought this guy to the party. It's not a hickey.
No,
definitely a curling iron burn. And here's the thing. I have a very hard time curling my hair with a curling iron, because it's kind of weird. Like when I was a kid, I know you do, babe. When I was a kid, you curled your hair with a curling iron by clamping the clamp on the end of your hair and then rolling it up. Well, that's not how people do it anymore, apparently. You start at the top and go down. Well, I have all my lefty problems. So when I was doing this side, I was like, how do I hold this stupid thing? And I was trying to figure out which way to hold it best so that my hair was even, curled the same on both sides. And boom, singed my neck.
You didn't scream.
I didn't. You're right. But it was really fast. It happened really fast. And I was shocked with like the level in which it actually did burn me. Because it was like, I mean, I did it and I instantly knew like, oh, you're burning yourself, and took it off.
We'll just pray a little blood of Jesus on you and pray that goes away fast.
I also put some Palmaferis stuff on it. Happy salve. So we'll see how that works.
Let us see how that works.
Let us see.
Babe, how are you feeling this holiday season? Tell me about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling
Christmas 2020.
Babe. Don't ask me a question and talk over me.
It's kind of the podcasty thing to do, is like quasi interrupt.
I'm gonna Kamala Harris you and say, I'm speaking. Let's move on. You asked how I was feeling.
Yeah, how are you feeling? Christmas 2020.
Is that your jingle?
No, but Oxton,
are you gonna let me answer?
Oxton is so into Monster Jams these days that I've got like that
Monster Jam. Yeah.
That commentator like, Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. You can buy the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. You remember that? That was awesome stuff. Sunday, I'm sorry.
I don't know what that is. Why don't you?
Monster truck, flamethrowing, monster calamity, danger, car crashing, smashing, Bigfoot.
I don't know what the heck you're talking about. Okay, here's the thing. Why don't you, instead of announcing
Christmas 2020?
Why don't you, instead of monster jamming, just ask me the questions today in your Monster Jam voice? Do you think you could?
Sammy, tell me about Christmas 2020.
You were supposed to say, how are you feeling?
How are you feeling? Christmas 2020.
Okay, now can I answer?
Answer the question. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that voice.
I think you should the rest of the time. Yeah. Okay, so I feel good. I'm a little bummed because Ayan and Eli were here for a week and then they left yesterday, so that's a bummer. And it feels kind of weird, like
they were here and gone.
Yeah, and like COVID obviously has changed things for everybody, right? Everyone's Christmas is looking different because whether it's because of
can't have fun.
Restrictions, because of loss, because of illness, because of a million things, people's Christmas looks different. Like I have several friends right now who have COVID, who can't even do anything, like they're quarantined, and lots of friends that have it. Lots of people who have already had it. Like it's just kind of crazy. And so our Christmas looks different too, but really more just because like I feel like when your kids are getting older and they're out of the house, it kind of changes how you do holidays. Yeah. And so Christmas isn't until Friday.
Sure.
Today's Tuesday. So. Christmas is Friday, which for people that are going to be hearing or watching, it'll maybe be past Christmas or the day before, or whatever, when this launches. Yeah. But we're already technically we're done with Christmas as far as like Christmas. The gifts and like that kind of stuff, because we did all that when Ayana and Eli were here. Well, then tomorrow, our besties from Nebraska are coming. Yeah. And so then it's like Christmas all over again. But yeah, it's strange. It feels like, I don't know. I think so many people are having a hard time right now. So many people aren't, but so many people are, and you're hearing about it, and it just feels so very like 2020, you know, like it's going to be different. But with that, I feel like it's really helped with like the focus and bringing the focus of Christmas back to like the original intention, because, you know, not everybody can go out and be shopping. Sure. People's budgets have changed because of, you know, loss of work or whatever. It's just, you know, and even for us, like we really scaled back this year. Everybody had one person, they got them gifts. Boom, we're done.
You're super excited to see people this year because you haven't been seeing anyone all year. You're like, sweet.
But a lot of people are still living in places where that kind of stuff is banned.
Oh, no.
So they're not necessarily seeing people.
I'm swallowing a little bit of my own words here because I am kind of 2020 over it. But yesterday I had to spend a lot of time at the auto repair place, getting the brakes done on the car. So it's like the first time I've been watching like regular cable TV. Oh. And like it's just what's being talked, you know, it's like Dr. Phil was talking about it, and I didn't know Drew Barrymore's got a show now. Drew was talking about, and everybody's got to do their live shows via Zoom, and it's just weird. So I'm just going to anthem 2020 as 2020 hates fun. I'm going to make that shirt 2020 hates fun.
You could, I suppose. I don't know who would wear it, but
it was just weird though, because even having our kids in town is like, you know, we're
couldn't really go very many.
We're
places,
new to San Antonio, and usually
so we haven't gotten to discover it all.
You want to share your city, and where do you take them?
Everything's kind of closed.
Drive by and point at restaurants. That one looks nice. Bet you the food in there tastes great.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but I honestly though, like even in the middle of it all, I actually still feel really good. Like I feel.
Yeah. Ham still tasted like ham.
Yeah, that's because you don't have COVID, because some people can't taste anything.
That's true. There are some people that won't even taste their Christmas dinner. All right.
So
anyways.
weird. Yeah.
So 2020, Christmas was good.
Do you have any other questions?
Yeah.
In the Monster Jam voice, please.
Tell me about your makeup.
Well, so my makeup is pretty extra today. I was thinking, yeah, it's Christmas week, let's go for it. And then you were like, babe, we're going to church. And I was like, well, I guess I never really thought of it that way, but we're three or more.
We're three or more gathered.
And we're here with Ben, so we're technically at church, and maybe my makeup is a little forward for church, but
no.
Anyways.
I get it. It's themed.
It's sparkly.
I mean, people have always told you you're kind of elf. You have elf features, right? You kind of.
People have always told me that. Is this like how Ben tells Calista she has troll feet?
Troll feet.
What do you mean? I've been told I have elf features.
You have a fairy nose.
That's a fairy, not an elf.
Right, but elves, fairies, they're all kind of.
Do you think I look like an elf?
Yes.
Like elf, like Will Ferrell?
No, not anything.
Ben, do you think I look like an elf?
Let's talk about Ben's troll feet.
Ben, do you think I look like an elf?
No, not yet.
What is?
How about a fairy? Does she look like a fairy, like an elfish fairy?
I don't really know how I feel about all this.
Well, I'm thinking like the elves from like what movie was that recent that has the elves in it? Is that the Hobbits?
I hope that they're at least like decent looking elves, not
I think if you were an elf, you'd be a very good looking elf.
Thank you, babe.
Like you'd very attractive.
We'll just take it in a very attractive elf. We'll move on.
Well, anyways,
okay, next question.
My whole point was what people can't appreciate that I can appreciate is that your eyelids are very sparkly.
They are very sparkly, but again,
my prayer for you is that none of that gets in your eyeballs because that would hurt.
It won't. I have quite the makeup remover in my arsenal, so I'm not too concerned.
Well, good. Well, Sam, we've been doing this now this is episode 12.
12.
Whoa, dude.
Is there a?
We haven't just been winging it per se.
But sort of. We kind of wing life.
Yeah, I mean, when COVID throws you the year it's given us, you got to try things. And the real purpose, well, I shouldn't say the real purpose, the main purpose of us doing this is we just love ministering to people and talking about life and helping people along and all that fun stuff. But
I think it's also a good excuse for you and I to just like have some time to connect and talk. And,
absolutely. Yeah.
We obviously always are around each other, but it's fun to just be able to sit down and talk through things that we like to talk through.
Should we encourage all couples to start a podcast?
No, because I think some would hate each other after, and some.
I look forward to our time every week together.
Most of the time.
Most?
Oh. Usually.
That was fun.
I look forward to our podcast more than going live with you, because live is always a little scary.
No.
Yes, last week I had to censor you, turn it off, delete, start over.
Oh, we can.
We're not going to even talk about it, but.
Live.
I do. Yeah. I enjoy this time. And I feel like, if people want to start a podcast, do it. Why not?
All right. Well, what I was
we've got a whole 17 listeners now.
Yes.
Actually, that's not true. I've actually been getting a lot of like really sweet and kind, encouraging messages from people saying that they really enjoy this. So,
absolutely.
Hey, if we can be a blessing to other people and point people back to Jesus.
I know it gives me something to do on Thursday nights.
You watch it? I haven't watched it for weeks.
No, but
poor Ben has to listen to it over and over again.
Ben and I and you are going to get together, and we're going to have like a little, we'll call it a micromercial.
Micromercial.
Intro. What is it called if it's on the end? It's
the end screen.
The end screen.
Oh, okay.
It lets people know that we are Joe and Sammy, but we also do this for Upstream and our organization, all that type of stuff. And so as you go through our kind of episodes, you'll see different times, right, where we highlight something that we do abroad or something that we're doing here. And I thought it would be neat if every now and then we worked in some of our Haiti stuff.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
And one of the things that you and I have grown to love about Haiti is its proverbs. It's a very proverb-rich country.
Yes.
So I thought, hey, why don't we introduce our listeners to a little Haitian proverb, and we'll put our spin and twist on it and how it's relevant to all of our lives.
Yeah, I like that. And if people have been with us to Haiti, they've for sure heard it. For sure. It'll be fun.
I don't know where this one ranks.
I was thinking we should
you.
have a T-shirt. We don't have a T-shirt for this one, and I really feel like that'd be cool if we did.
Yeah, it'd be a fun design too.
Yeah.
It'd be a fun design too. in the world of Haitian Proverbs, do you have any favorites?
I don't know that I have like a standout favorite. Yeah. Maybe Menampil Shaipalu.
Menampil Shaipalu.
Is that a proverb though, or is that just?
No, that's.
Or Sakam. What is the one that you always say? I can never say it.
Sakvit pakampe.
Yeah, I like that one too. An empty sack can't stand.
Yeah, empty bag, empty.
Here,
empty
you just throw them out there, and I'll tell them.
No, we'll go through them. We'll go
but wait, you should really introduce this one in the voice of Monster Jam.
All right, today we're talking about Haitian proverbs, and one of my personal favorites is "Manger quid page met." Manger quid page met.
But you have a really good announcer voice.
I might get some Haitian kickback on this. So it is a manger quid page met. Gain is hard for English. So
for English-speaking people.
Manger quid page met. It means cooked food has no owner. Oh, we'll just leave it with that. Mic drop. Bye. We're out of here. See you guys. All right. So in the world of manger quid page met, I've used this proverb probably quite a bit this year, just in my mind, as we're thinking about just the differences and the change of the world. Mm-hmm. And this is a good one for the season that we're in because, well, let's just go through this. Let's go through this. Haiti.
All right, break it down, baby.
Many times people will ask me, for those that like to do math anyway, some people, they just hear numbers and it goes right over their head. But some people actually will do math and they'll say, Joe, how is it that Haiti has 86% unemployment? For those that are working, they only make a couple dollars a day. How is it that they survive? Because that's a great question, right? Mm-hmm. How is it that a massive population, let's say 12 million people on the island of Haiti, it says 86+% unemployment rate. So out of 100 people, you have 14, 15 people working at any given time. A couple bucks a day seems to be the going rate there. Yet a plate of food, one meal on the streets, 250, 350 goods, which is like $2, $3 at different times. Mm-hmm. So how is it? How is it that people survive? And this proverb is so ingrained, so enriched in the people of Haiti that you see it even at the youngest levels. Mm-hmm. Cooked food has no owner. Most simple definition of it is you have to share. It's just ingrained that their survival is based on sharing. Now it has no end, no limits, right? So we've seen this in so many different ways. It means that your wardrobe is open and available to your friends to share.
Friends and family.
It means, say Ben, right? Ben's a young guy. Maybe he doesn't have a full wardrobe. He's got a really important job interview. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to piece together a nice outfit for it. There would be nothing wrong with Ben just coming right on over to my house and basically assuming and feeling like my closet was free rein to him. Not that he can just barge in and take whatever he wants, but it would be completely normal for him to come in and say, hey, Joe, I've got a job interview. Can I borrow some stuff? And I would gladly... dress him up with some nice shoes, a nice belt, whatever slacks he needs.
And it wouldn't be uncommon either. Like we've seen where somebody's wearing a few things from different people. Like everybody is
on the daily. Think of Duke and Peter, how often they come over.
And you're like, oh, did you get new shoes? Oh no, they're my cousins.
This is my cousins.
Or this is my friends.
This is my neighbors. Yeah.
So cute. I love it.
So where does this kind of really tie in today is, as we talk about, America and all the crazy and wild and weird things that are going on. I think one of the things that is scary that we haven't really ever had to face for a long time as a country anyways, is the need to survive based on our friendships and relationships.
Yeah.
Right? So, in the context of Haiti, this is something, when we say a proverb, we mean it's just things that we would teach our children, right? What are
just like a rule of thumb.
Yeah, in America, we might... grab a toy away from one of our children and say they have to share that with their brother or sister or whatever. But in Haiti, probably the most amazing experience, and I know you've had this too, I know our children have, is when it comes to sharing candy with little children. So take one of our school scenarios, right? A couple hundred kids running around and a bag full of candies come out. Maybe there's only 25, 30 candies, but there's 200 and some kids. The kids just know in receiving this gift of the candy to not run and hide it or hoard it or stick it in their pocket. Well, I mean, any mischievous kid will try.
Or,
but it wouldn't
not even mischievous, just any kid.
Right, but it wouldn't be socially acceptable. It wouldn't be socially acceptable. You will see a lot of the kids, break the candy on the ground, create 5-6 pieces out of one piece of candy, and make sure that each and every one of their friends gets a piece. Sometimes we've seen kids share and not even save a piece for themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
or like we've seen so many times, like during snack at school, if snacks run short, then, they'll be sharing their water or sharing, or if we bring our water bottle, they'll be sharing the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. So we could just kind of open this up for discussion. There's a few different things that I wanted to tie into it. The biggest one is just saying, the spirit, when we talk about Haiti and what it's given to us, as people that have been able to travel there and live there, you realize quickly that physical things, physical wealth or what we have that we can show for it, isn't necessarily the only ways that we're rich. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we're rich in the ways of hospitality.
I feel like it's like the least way that we're rich. Meaning, like, people will think that they are not rich because they don't have excess of money.
Sure.
And like, for example, the other day, I was just like having a rough day. The kids knew. I came home. They're doing this like amazing crazy dance in the driveway to Christmas music and just being like themselves. And somebody commented, and I like went live on Facebook because I was like, this is so great. Everyone needs to see this. And somebody commented and said that exactly, like, man, you are like so rich. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, like you really are. But I think so many times in our nation specifically, we will think like if we don't have a ton of money in savings, or we're not, like if we're living paycheck to paycheck, or which the average person here is, like then you think like you're not wealthy, you're not rich. And it's Absolutely. Like, oh man, I feel like the ways that we are the richest have nothing to do with money. And the ways that sometimes we're the poorest have a direct correlation to money,
Amen. Yeah. One of the greatest injustices that could happen in like we've had the privilege of leading hundreds of people to Haiti. It's near impossible to land in Haiti and not see the physical poverty. I mean, it's overwhelming. But if that's all you were to leave Haiti with, it would be a great injustice, because the way that we even try to lead our trips is to challenge that in our humanity, is to see beyond, because we as Americans are very physical, visible people, right? Somebody pulls up in a 1984 Dodge Caravan, you don't think nothing of it. Somebody pulls up in a 2020 Lamborghini, that guy's cool, right? We have just that in our culture, where when we can take people to Haiti or experience a place like Haiti, and then them see, wow, these people are lacking a lot of things, but they smile. They're extremely generous.
They share.
Spiritually, the way that they worship God, take care of each other, groom each other. Those are the areas where we see real wealth.
Yeah, for sure.
The riches of humanity.
For sure. I remember a time where one of our amazing neighbors in Haiti, we had been going past their house on the way to ours, stopped and said hello, and they were cooking for their whole family, which is a good-sized family. They were cooking for their whole family in this little pot, and it was just like not much rice at all for their whole family for their meal. And I just remember being like, man, like, but yet they're just so happy and smiling. And they're greeting you and they're like, yeah, like we're cooking this and blah, blah, and you're just like, what? Like their attitude's so good. And they're the same people. Like clearly they're without, physically speaking, right? But they're the first people that when they find out you're sick, they're bringing over fruits and vegetables and things to make teas. And, it's just so fascinating.
Physically putting their bodies in harm's way to protect you. The same couple that you're talking about, that husband has been in so many scenarios where he would put himself in physical harm.
Tony.
Mr. Tony's in action.
Tony's just part of it. He's just part of the podcast, guys. You hear him over there? Yeah. I also hear somebody snoring. Is Louie under the... Yep. Louie's under the table.
We're in the dog pound,
Is it picking that up?
We film in the dog pound.
Do I need to move him?
No.
He's literally snoring so loud. Can you hear it?
Barely.
Okay.
That's okay.
Lou's snoring under the table, guys. But
Remember, we are the podcast that films in a dog pound. Okay, so you might remember a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about how the season has really tested me, right? We were doing the Man in the Mirror episode, and I had said, hey, through this season, I've realized you start challenging certain things. It's hard to find contentment. And it really was thinking about, not so much this proverb, but the way it's lived out, where we find our real wealth, right? Because what we were saying, you and I have had this conversation a couple times, having lived in Haiti, you always have things to worry about, but one of the things that we rarely worried about there was finances.
Right. I think it's very hard to worry about your personal finances when the people that you're surrounded with have nothing, physically speaking.
Yeah, outside our gate is
very hungry, very sick people. So it's like your brain can't even think about that stuff because you're just like, you would just be a jackwagon to be worried about something.
And this was not because of having an excess. We were just, not only was it not about excess, even if you had excess, you wouldn't really have anywhere to spend. What would you do? Buy more
eggs,
groceries? Yeah, it's not like there's things to go spend. Not like this, like, hey, let's go to the Six Flags or the SeaWorld. Right. So it wasn't because of excess. It's just that wasn't what seemed to be before you all the time. We're here.
And the level of importance is like way down here. And money is a tool and it can be used for different programs and for really like helping and empowering people. And at the same time, it's really put into perspective when you serve in a place like we do.
Right. So the flip side, you and I were expressing the other day, is like, we could sit down and make a list of all the things to be thankful and grateful for. And it would be overwhelming, right? Kids dancing, breath in our lungs, life, house. List goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on of things to be grateful for. Yet, the stress and worry of finances can literally steal and rob that from you completely.
Yeah. So I think one little detail that was left out is comparing when we were living there versus when we're back in the States.
Yes.
Like, not a year ago, our concern in a given day was, how do I best love my neighbors? How do I best empower our staff? How do I best stay connected to the vine? How do I best deal with the trauma that I'm seeing? Those are the things that you're focused on every single day.
Keeping a personal life, spiritual needs.
How do I gotta make sure that the generator is filled with fuel, and what time should I take my shower to get the warmest water possible? Those were the things that your mind was consumed with. You come here, we move back here, and it's literally the opposite.
Yeah.
And I hate it. Honestly, there's part of me where I'm I know that our calling is now to be in the States, but there are times where I'm man, I miss the simplicity of living that way.
Yep.
And yet I also not gonna lie, I definitely love certain aspects of being in the States. So it's so interesting how, money, finances, all of those things can really take over here. And I wonder too if part of it, sure, there's a lot of generosity in the States. We've seen it.
Oh, yeah,
we've been the recipients of it. We try to be as generous as possible. So it's not that there's not a generosity here in the States, but it's our survival is not dependent on the generosity of others here.
So a couple of points there to get back where the cooked food, the manger cuit page met comes into play. One is, it's not for me, even sharing the example of what we worry about there versus what we worry about here is not even in finding a right versus a wrong or a better or worse. It's just, it begs the question of is it almost even a spiritual, not spiritual, demonic, but almost that oppression is just here in America. And this, this is for our audience to decide whether it is or isn't for them. But I think there is this weird reality or this weird worry for people that somehow money solves all problems. Man, if we could just have X amount more, X amount this.
We are guilty of that sometimes.
I would find my joy. Or, daydreaming. What if I won the lottery? You know, what problems would I not have? No.
Or like, what if I was at the top of the company? Like, what would that look like? You know?
Yeah. So I would come as, Solomon said, or Solomon reigned the wisest of all because of experience. Having experienced both sides of it, I don't think that one is better than the other. It's just something.
I think each has its pro, and each has its con. Yeah.
It's something to be aware of, because the real peace comes from finding contentment in either or, right? I can remember being so frustrated and upset in Haiti because I couldn't find what I needed at a store, where that's not a problem here.
Or like you needed a car part that wasn't available in country, and then you're literally waiting weeks and weeks and weeks for it to come, and then it's the wrong one.
Right.
Like there's certain things where it's like, then here you need something, boom, there's 75 stores, you can just go get it and be done. But there's other trade-offs too,
So let's get back onto the cook food has.
Let's get back at it.
What stirred this in me through this season is even the history a little bit of this proverb. When you are living in a season of abundance, or where it feels like a lot of people have abundance, sharing for the purpose of survival isn't necessarily there. Haiti, unfortunately, because of their history, has had the need to share for the purpose of survival for a long time. For a long time. And we don't have time to go through all of Haiti's history, but Haiti has been, for one, is one of the strongest nations and strongest people you'll ever meet, that has come on the back of a lot of injustices. And through it, though.
Unbelievable amount of injustice.
Through it. Because of the proverbs of that island, which can fill a book, but the core ones, like manger cuit pas met, is this idea that when crap hits the fan, so to speak, or when it feels like you don't have enough to get by, you know that you're as strong as your community is strong. Where here in the States, sometimes what can feel overwhelming, and until you've experienced it, is as you start to suffer, you can feel like you're suffering in isolation. You can feel like you're suffering alone, because we aren't so set up to know that our community is just there and available for us to survive. So I was thinking, we have the things, like food pantries and clothing closets and stuff like that. That's very different than this kind of sharing. Like you said, we're generous. We are generous as a nation because we do, right? You can drive to any community and probably find a place to get a free bag of food or some free clothing. That's very different to your dignity as a human being when you feel like you're a part of the circle of giving and receiving, right? Like when it becomes a community thing, it's not awkward in Haiti to walk across the street and ask to borrow something, because at any point that person could be in the same boat as you, right? There isn't so much a hierarchy of the haves giving to the have-nots. It's just such a part of their culture. And, as we sit in uncertain times as a country, I feel like some of those basic
ideologies
of community are coming back, and or need to come back, and or we should want them to come back, where
or
we start
maybe
to,
it's not even come back, because
or find
maybe in our generation we've not seen anything like this.
Yes, maybe
right?
there's some older, wiser people that could speak to.
We should have brought some.
Well, we have to remember our history in America is pretty new. We're only a few hundred years old as a country, and there was settler days, and so it's probably
there was tough times.
It's probably 100
but
some years
in our
ago.
lifetime, obviously, this is the
we're a very independent society.
Yeah,
very independent society, and sometimes feeling less than or weak, or however, I don't know what words to put on it. For me, sometimes it feels like we becomes the scariest thing in the world to ask for help. I sometimes you even you'd rather drive 3 miles to go buy a bag of sugar than walk across the street and ask to borrow a cup of sugar because you don't know if that's okay to do. I don't know. Maybe chime in on that a little bit.
Well, I don't know. I think for us, we've always, in Wisconsin, we were close with our neighbors, and here we're close with some of our neighbors, and so I feel like for me it wouldn't be a big deal to be like, hey, do you have a stick of butter? Actually, I just sent the kids not that many weeks ago, run over to this house and get a stick of butter, and run over to that house and get a stick of butter because I can't get to the store or whatever. But I think I feel like even though this year is really trying, I do feel like I see a lot of people just rising up and being good and being kind. Yeah. And even the other day we were doing our little family Christmas thing, and somebody on our street, all of a sudden the doorbell rings. You're like, no, you're not even expecting anyone. And there's a little gift on the front step. And, one of the people on our street made these little gift bags and a Christmas ornament. And I don't know if you ever even saw the Christmas ornament yet, but it says Murray Gray Crew. Yeah. And it says it's the people in our area. Yeah. And just the fact that they were purposefully thinking about our street, about our neighbors, I was like, I love that. And sure, maybe they would have done that before 2020. Maybe they would do it, whatever. Sure. But the point is I feel like if you're looking for it, you see people trying to be loving, be kind, be generous, be thoughtful. But maybe that's because we're around great people. I don't know. I'm sure that there's people that don't see that or don't feel that necessarily. I
think, as you talk about, cups of sugar and sticks of butter, those are obviously examples of this type of sharing, and I think that has to do with also your.
But my survival doesn't depend on it. I just wanted to bake something.
Your ability to step out in the community, right? I mean, you're only going to be as friendly with your neighbors as you're willing to be. I'm talking more along the lines of the great, a macro level, big level. Let's say we were to have a collapse in the economy, right? We teetered with it a little bit, 06, 07, part of 08. But let's just say we go into a Great Depression like we've had before in a country.
Which is quite possible. There's hurting people.
Where you're middle class and below middle class people are really we are in a position where there's a lot of jobs being lost.
Businesses being lost.
And businesses. Yeah. I think the effects of this year will go on to kind of show its harm. How will that cause our generosity, our do we consider each other brothers and sisters? Do we look upon somebody not just in pity and wanting to help them out, but truly in the sense of that could be me at any moment? That seems to be what really makes that proverb true in Haiti, is this understanding that level of need, of survival, has always been tasted by each other. Mm-hmm. So when we realize, hey, I could be that guy on the street, I could be that guy without a job, I could be that guy going into foreclosure, we've all experienced that, that becomes the way we help and serve it. Where for some, I'm not saying this as a general practice, but for some, it's well, maybe you should have done a better job. Maybe you should have saved better. Maybe you should have worked harder. Maybe you should have gotten a college, whatever. I mean, there are some naysayers out there, but manger qui pague met, cooked food has no owner. To the point where
it's a good thing to live by. I mean, I think if we're intentional about the way that we live our lives, we should notice when people are hurting. We should notice when people are without. And, it doesn't necessarily mean you're always going to have money to give, but you have time and you have talent and you have your presence, you have your words. There's so many things that you can do. Your wardrobe, yeah.
Your car.
Yeah, there's so many things that you can do to have that, lifestyle of sharing and not just blessing yourself.
I love sharing.
You sounded like Buddy the Elf a little bit, except for he'd be a little more excited when he said, I love sharing.
Well,
you should do it in your monster truck voice.
These are areas that are fun for...
Weird.
What?
You're a monster truck voice.
Which part should I do?
I love sharing.
I love sharing. Sharing. Every Sunday, 7 p.m., fire-breathing sharing.
You're a goober. Yeah.
Yeah. this is one of those areas that I think I get a little smile on my face because I feel we have lived this one out. We've never really been a family that has, even with our children, right? We've never really even allowed them to claim anything as theirs. It's always ours. It's meant to be shared.
A quick way to get something taken away is if it's like, this is mine, mine. And you're like, oh, really? Yeah. Oh, is it? Okay, now it's not.
In Haiti, they would even go as far as every meal they would prepare. Well, in the rural areas, you might not see this so much in the city, but in the rural areas, be very traditional. No matter how little you have, to always have an extra bowl in case one of your neighbors were to happen by or be in need. There was always an extra plate. And I think that conditioning that I've seen there is something that I just want to be a part of our life. And you have been still to date probably one of the most generous people I've ever met. You know, in the world of our work, especially in the nonprofit work, you know, you don't necessarily have an item that you sell to earn money. We have to go out and ask and trust people to believe in what we do and support us. And I think one of the reasons why I've always felt okay with doing that is because it's something that we've always been willing to do too. We've always, I'm not saying that as a thing of pride, but just a thing where
it's just important to us to be giving and generous.
Yeah, to be giving and generous. So that's a Haitian proverb.
We
tied that in with our podcast this week.
Yeah.
What's a Haitian proverb we should do next time?
I don't know.
Chen grand goût pas jouer.
No, I don't think so.
That's hungry dogs don't play. That one's a fun one.
We could do that with all of our dogs.
Bel bonjour c'est passe pas.
That's a good one.
You could write a whole book just on that proverb, they say.
A beautiful smile is your passport.
All right, babe, we're getting ready to walk into the new year. I suppose our next episode, we should do some New Year's resolutions because everybody loves those.
I'm not going to make any resolutions, but I am.
Are you planning any for this new year?
Yes, I actually am. My resolution.
I don't know what resolution means, if I'm going to be honest with you. Is that just a goal?
It's like a resolve. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, I have a resolve to do it.
I'm going to do this.
I'm not making any resolutions. I've done those before. Like, oh yeah, like this year I'm going to like lose all this weight. And I'm like, whatever.
Womp, womp, womp.
Womp, womp. But this, like going into 2020, like really my hope is that I'll become more scheduled.
Ooh,
I feel like I've been,
oriented.
like I fly by the seat of my pants, and that's great.
Which is why your pants all have holes in them.
Molly Dickinson would love that because she always teases me about my pants missing the fabric.
Well, she's a farm gal, so the only holes in their pants are earned, not boughten.
Not bought.
Boughten.
No, bought.
Boughten.
No, not boughten.
Boughten.
Boughten is
Boughten! I said boughten!
That was not good.
Right.
But
Purchased.
what was I saying, babe?
Holy pants, fly by sheet pants. It's going to be more scheduled.
Oh, yeah.
Scheduled.
So it works to a certain extent, but I found that now that I've picked up this new
your capacity.
gig that I'm doing, it's not even that I have like that I'm at my capacity. It's more that like I'm finding that I would probably thrive a little bit better with some structure. Yeah. And I think because I would like stay at home mom for so long with like a very small side of this, or, you know, Upstream focused for so many years with like a very small side of this. Like, you know, right now it's like I'm a wife and mom, and I'm also helping when I can with Upstream, and I'm also doing, you know, my business. So it's just like, you know, it's a lot, and I'm seeing the need to schedule myself a little bit more effectively, because at the end of the day, I don't want to have regrets. And there are some days where I go to bed and I'm like, man, I regret that I didn't spend more time doing this with the kids, or more time doing that, or whatever. And it's because I'm not, like, my time management skills are a little off.
You know what's fun? So
that's my resolve, is like to schedule it up.
You know what's fun and super rewarding about getting more proficient in scheduling? Everyone wins.
And you just be able to mark more things. Because I think sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like I did a ton of stuff today, but not anything that I actually wanted to do.
Your proficiency, like your give-get becomes greater. And I will champion you in that because, like I said, I think we all will benefit from that. Did you like my Devo this morning?
I haven't read it yet.
Well, I was touching this a little bit, and I was calling out those that maybe feel like they need to read their Bible more this year, and they didn't even read a single book of the Bible last year. I said, hey, January 1st, wake up and read Jude. It's one chapter. And you can literally start your year off having read more books of the Bible than you did in the entire 2020. So,
there you go.
I'm a big believer.
Jonah's a quick one too.
Big believer of setting small,
obtainable
goals for the purpose of celebrating. Like, throw a little party dance to yourself. When you check the box, I'll be like, yeah.
Babe, I'm the best party dancer.
Well, I'm telling you,
all the party dancing I've been doing.
Start your new year off with some momentum.
Babe, do you know all the party dancing that I've been doing?
If you did 20 push-ups in 2020.
I'm not doing any push-ups. What? But do you know my party dance that I've been doing for all of my people?
It looks like Elaine. You're like,
No, it's not. I haven't done that at all. Nope.
I don't know how.
It's more like.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. You.
Like that.
You are totally an Elaine dancer.
Thank you.
You got way more skills than her. All right, click, subscribe, comment.
I guess that's
below.
it.
I like saying that. Click, subscribe, comment below. The suggested podcast up here, and Ben will put something awesome down here, and then you can go over there. Love you guys.
All right, everyone. That wraps up our episode 12 of the Upstream TV podcast. We want to thank everyone for joining us on Christmas Eve. We hope that you are enjoying your time with your family and friends. We are praying that you can celebrate the birth of Jesus on this Christmas holiday. We are praying for you going into this new year of 2021. We thank you for your support throughout this whole year, and we can't wait to see what's next for Upstream in 2021. God bless you.